evening and welcome to the Commentary coverage of the Champions League clash. It's in the group stages, Group F, match day 1, and it's Milan, AC Milan against Newcastle United. Newcastle United, 21-year wait to get back into European football, and they're back in it tonight with a mouth-watering clash to kickstart their group. They've also got the big European giants in Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund also in their group to contend with at a later time. But today it's another big giant, and it's the big giant of AC Milan. Should be a good match, this one. Also kicking off at quarter 6 is Young Boys against RB Leipzig. We'll keep you up to date with that one. Our focus is on Newcastle's first European fixture in 21 years. And let's bring the all-important team news to you with myself, Russ Vernon. I'm the host today, and the co-commentator who's going to be alongside me shortly is Bruno Winter, and he will be joining us today. So Milan made 3 changes to the side, which got thumped 5-1 by Milan rivals Internazionale at the weekend. Out goes Simon Kerr, Rangers and Pulisic, with Chukwueze, Tomori and Pobega coming in to the side. Newcastle also made 3 changes. Tonali, Isak and Murphy coming in for Anderson, Wilson and Barnes. So let me run you through the 2 starting lineups then. Starting with AC Milan is Magnon in goal, David Calabria, Malik Thor, Fikayo Tomori and Teo Hernandez. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is in midfield with Radek Krunic and Tommaso Pobega, with Samuel Chukwueze, Olivier Giroud and Rafael Leao in attack. On the bench for AC, for Milan is Marcos Burelti and Antonio Mirante, the sub-goalkeepers, Yasin Adil, Christian Pulisic, Tijan Rangers, Luka Jovic, Noah Okafor, Simon Kerr, Alessandro Florenzi, Yunus Musa and Davide Berkasagi. As for Eddie Allen, 3 changes as I mentioned for Newcastle United. In to the side comes Sandro Tonali, Jacob Murphy and Alexander Isak. Out goes Alan Wilson, Harvey Barnes and Elliot Anderson. So the team in full length for Newcastle United is Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Sven Bondman, Fabian Schär and Dan Burn across the back. Is Sean Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, with Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon in attack. On the bench, Loris Karius, Aiden Harris are 2 goalkeepers, Paul Dummett, Jamal Lascelles, Callum Wilson, Matt Target, Harvey Barnes, Luis Hall, Tino Livramento, Miguel Almiron, Elliot Anderson and Luis Miley. The referee today is Jose Maria Sanchez from Spain, assisted by Raul Cabanero and Inigo Prieto, with Cesar Soto Granado also from Spain. For official VAR is Alejandro Hernandez from Spain, and his assistant is Marco Fritz from Germany. So that is the officials and the team news. Let's fetch in for the first time this evening as the teams emerge from the tunnel down below us. Fetching Bruno Winter. Very good afternoon to you, Bruno. Very good evening to you and to all our listeners as well. It'll be a good game this one, Bruno. What are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, good evening, Russ. A lot of anticipation around Newcastle's first Champions League game in 21 years. An interesting battle right up against the big boys' first game in at the San Siro. What a massive game for them and their supporters. It's going to be a really tough test for Newcastle. We know how difficult the group is with PSG and Dortmund, and these are the sort of games where you maybe don't have to win, but starting off with a point will be very good because sooner rather than later, you find out that you're really searching for points, and you don't want to be desperate for points playing against Borussia Dortmund and PSG. That's for sure.
Yes, absolutely, Bruno, absolutely. And just as the Champions League anthem rings around the San Siro as we speak right now, just a bit of news which came out earlier today. Some sad news regarding the Newcastle fan, Eddie Mackay, 58-year-old from Newcastle, went across to Milan with his son to watch the game against Milan tonight with a friend as well, and they were attacked by 7 or 8 people who Eddie claims were wearing balaclavas. He's in a stable condition after being stabbed, and the last update that we got was that he is set to return home a little bit later on this evening, which is a bit of good news that he's stable and able to return home later. Just a shame that he was unable to watch the game this afternoon or this evening or morning, depending where you are in the world, between his beloved Newcastle United against AC Milan. Should be a good one then. Let's just look at the midfield battle then today. Midfield three for both sides then, Bruno. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Redi Cunha and Tommaso Pobega for AC, with Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali in there. Tonali back at his former club as well in Milan, who left to join Newcastle this summer. What sort of battle are you expecting from the midfielding? Do you think that's the area which this game will be won and lost for either side tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I think for Newcastle, that's just about their strongest midfield that they can get potentially, adding Joe Linton, but he's out injured. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek for AC Milan. He's been a very smart signing for them. Came from Chelsea for about £15 million, and so far he's really lit up Serie A. He hasn't scored yet, but his performances have had raving reviews. But at the same time, it's going to be tough for a lot of these Newcastle players, such as Longstaff, and I think it's 6 others who haven't had any Champions League or European experience. That's going to be very tough for them, especially with this first game in a raucous atmosphere in Milan.
Yes, absolutely, Bruno. Absolutely. We're just going to have a minute silence for what happened in Morocco and Libya right now. So the players are just gathering around the centre circle. We're going to have a minute silence as well. So we'll be back as soon as the minute silence is over. Morocco and Libya, this is for you. Brilliant minute silence, respectfully observed by both sets of players and supporters, and also by myself and Bruno as well. My man Jon getting ready down at the far end away to where we're watching this from. So too Nick Pope. On one occasion, this will be for Nick Pope. Newcastle will kick us off. They're taking the goal away to our right in the first half in their black and white striped shirts, white shorts, white socks. AC Milan in their red and black shirts, black shorts and black socks. And Newcastle have got the game off and underway. And there's an early ball pumped forward looking for the run of Alexander Isak, who's controlled it well. Brings in Anthony Gordon, who's trying to get the ball forward for Newcastle. Short Longstaff tries to get out wide to Jacob Murphy. Trippier's in there, and Trippier's doing well to keep hold of the ball. Was a penalised effort. Arm ball there by Kieran Trippier from the referee this evening. The referees from Spain, as I mentioned, Jose Maria Sanchez is the match referee this evening. As it is Milan in possession with Krunic. What can he do? He drops it back to Thorin, who's just keeping a touch of the ball, early touch for him, into Ruben Loftus-Cheek, the former Chelsea player, and he goes down on the challenge of the former Milan player, Sandro Tonali. And there's a good fast start to this game, and there's a shoulder barge there in the end, and a definite free kick early on. We'll bring Bruno in a few moments, get his thoughts on the early exchanges. Next time we have a stoppage in play, we'll do that. As here is Calabria for Milan, who drops it after drop it back to Mike Magnon. And Magnon will look to get the ball forward into the path of Krunic, who gets it back to him. And across now to Fika Tomori, the former Chelsea player. Was in the England squad for the recent friendly matches against Scotland and the qualifier against Ukraine and during the last international break. Wasn't picked by Gareth Southgate for either of those games, and interestingly, he's had a very really settled time since he's come to Italy, as this is a wonderful ball from Magnon to Teo Hernandez, back into Tomori, and now back to Magnon again as Milan will just look to get the ball forward. Spread the ball out wide to Calabria. Calabria fetches down well in towards Olivier Giroud, flicks the header on. Fabian Schär just helps it back to Nick Pope, who clears away left-footed. Up into the air it goes. Flicked on by Alexander Isak in the side of the centre circle, but Isak came back from an offside position, and the ball is back with Milan. And you can clearly see there, as that ball was played forward, that Alexander Isak was in offside position. He's Ruben Loftus-Cheek now for AC Milan, running down the right hand flank, that far right hand side from where we're looking today. Stefano Pioli's side will be looking to bounce back from their horrific defeat at the weekend to bitter rivals Inter. And on this very ground, Milan were in the away dressing room on that occasion, as they share the ground with Inter. Interesting to see how this game does unfold. Is Milan, as with the ball over on that far side with the right back Calabria, was coming forward now, plays it into Krunic, who looks to switch the play well to find Teo Hernandez. Onside Teo Hernandez up against Jacob Murphy, goes back into the path. Rafael Leao takes a shot, which is deflected into the arms of Nick Pope. First chance of the game comes for Rafael Leao of Milan, 3.5 minutes in, and it remains 0-0 Bruno.
Yeah, and it's sort of as expected, AC Milan with a majority of possession. Of their 4 Serie A games, 3 of them they've had around 60% possession, and Newcastle, we know, they're a fairly low block counter-attacking side at their best. And right now it's playing out exactly as we'd expect. But it was just a fairly tame effort from Leao from the edge of the box.
Yes, as Anthony Gordon wins his side a free kick, foul on him there by the number 2 Calabria, the captain of Milan. And you look to on that replay there, we've just seen he looked like he won the ball, but the referee gave the free kick as Trippier finds it back to Nick Pope, and now here is Sven Botman. Wonderful play from Sven Botman, who drops into Bruno Guimaraes. And now Jacob Murphy has to come short to bring the ball over halfway for Newcastle United. He's got Kieran Trippier on the out wide, on this right hand side, near right hand side for Newcastle. Ball into Alexander Isak. Lovely control from Isak. Can he get it out wide to Anthony Gordon? He can. Gordon cuts in field. Spreads the play well to Kieran Trippier. Trippier with a wonderful ball in. Heads go up by Tomori. Headed away there by the former Chelsea player for Newcastle throw. This is a good response to the effort a few moments ago from Milan and Rafael Leao. Trippier will line up this throw-in. Takes into Jacob Murphy. Back into Kieran Trippier for Newcastle United. On halfway is Fabian Schär. Moves into the Milan half on the right hand side, spreads the play well to the far left hand side, and Anthony Gordon going up against Calabria, and Tonali nips in to help Anthony Gordon, and Sandro Tonali's inside the penalty, just ball one out of play, couldn't keep it in, behind for a goal kick. But Newcastle, after having that early warning sign, have got back into this game well.
Yeah, nice bit of pressure from Newcastle after the half chance from Milan, and this is what they need to do: get it out wide to the wingers Gordon and Murphy, and also getting Trippier involved. That's when Newcastle are at their best, getting balls into the box for Alexander Isak and their big central midfielders to try and get on the end of a cross.
Yes, and Jacob Murphy just, I think he's won inside a corner there off the Tamori. I just look this again. I think he's just won his. No, he does come off Murphy last. I thought he did win a corner there, Jacob Murphy, but he did come off Murphy last. There's a goal kick to Milan, which my man takes to Teo Hernandez. And instead of playing it to the centre backs who go under pressure last time, he's gone straight to the left by my man on this time as Teo Hernandez runs out of the Newcastle midfield. Now plays out wide to Rafael Leao on this left hand side. Cuts in field, but he's fouled there, Rafael Leao, and Milan win a free kick by Sean Longstaff on him. But this is what Newcastle like to do, just stop teams in the track. Just stepped across him there, Longstaff, and it's a definite free kick, and Milan have got it quickly underway. There's been an early goal in the game between Young Boys and Leipzig to tell you about, and it's Leipzig will take the lead on 3 minutes away at Young Boys. Ahmed Simikan after just 3 minutes with the goal there. As we watch this game unfold, hopefully you're all doing fantastically well today. Mike is on. Thank you for your excellent coverage last night, Mike. Says difficult game to call this. We think Milan's home advantage will tell in the end 2-1 to Milan. For him, we'll get Bruno's thoughts in a moment. And he says welcome to the team, to Bruno as well. Bring Bruno in on his and try and get his prediction for this game today. I know, give a prediction when I'm leading the commentaries. Is a wonderful ball from Bruno Guimaraes into Kieran Trippier, down the line into Murphy. Wonderful play from Murphy, back to Trippier. And now Fabian Schär to bring the ball forward. Over the top there is Jacob Murphy, who's onside, goes down on the challenge of Teo Hernandez, peeling for a free kick there, pull on the shirt. What do you reckon to this, Bruno? Free kick?
That's a free kick. The thing in the Premier League, we like to think that we have a little bit more tolerance for those sort of nifty challenges, but as a West Ham fan, having been in Europe the last couple of seasons, I understand that sometimes European refs, they're not exactly favourable against the English sides when it comes to those 50-50s.
Yes, and Newcastle will get there. We'll know all about that this season. If they can go far in the tournament, as the offside flag is raised against Samuel Chukwueze over there. And he just was a bit annoyed there with that decision. And I think he's got every right to be annoyed as well, because I think he was just onside there, Samuel Chukwueze, but the linesman on that far side put his flag up and decided, in fact, he wasn't onside, he was in fact offside, and my idea that he was onside was wrong according to the linesman. But I thought he was onside, but we'll have to wait and see as he comes up with the free kick. Down the line it goes, flicked headed forward by Dan Burn, out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle United. It'll be Burn to take it. And I wonder if Newcastle will be dancing in the moonlight and singing Burn, baby, burn, if Dan Burn keeps his side a clean sheet later on. A spot of the Newcastle defence against this brilliant Milan side. Milan, as I mentioned already, lost 5-1 to their bitter rivals Inter at the weekend. Be interesting to see how this one went in the end. Goes in the end there, as is Fabian Schär to fetch the ball forward. Brilliant switch of play to Anthony Gordon. And he's away from Kleber. Gordon going one way then the other. Keeps the ball in play, pulls the ball back. No one in a black and white shirt can pick up and get that one away. As Liauga, as Newcastle committed a foul. His crunch, his tail and Anderson was down, in fact. He's holding his face. And I don't think he got him in the face there. I do think it's a free kick. Bruno, what's your take?
I think once again it's those that in Europe you see given a lot. As soon as there's a head injury or potential head injury, the referees always have a decision to make. And I think he came across him, didn't really get the ball. I think it's probably certainly one of those European fouls.
Yes, and G-Waz is on. He's also going for a 2-1 Milan. We next time have a break in play, we'll bring Bruno in. And today's prediction is Sandro Tonali, the former Milan player, back to his old stomping ground up against his former side tonight. As is Samuel Chukwueze coming forward for Milan, but he gives the ball away to Longstaff. And now Murphy. Murphy looking for support, but he hasn't got to, so he's had to go on his own, and he wins his side a free kick there. Jacob Murphy, foul on him by Tommaso Pobega. Hopefully you're doing okay, G-Waz, by the way. And Bruno, while we wait for this free kick to be taken, you're going to give us your score prediction for this game, and it's going to be a tough one. It's a tough one to call. But I just see this game going in there, and who do you reckon is going to come out on top?
Nothing really between two sides, no clear-cut chances yet. I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I can't imagine there'll be as many goals as there was in AC Milan's last match. But I'm going for a 1-1 score draw. I think Newcastle defensively are going to be as solid as they have in the Premier League. But AC Milan, they don't tend to concede.
Pobega just strikes goals there. It comes back in from Leao to the back post. And a wonderful save again from Nick Pope. Sorry about that, Bruno. We'll come back to you in a second to finish that off. But that was a wonderful chance there from Pobega. And the cross back in. Header of the back post from Chukwueze. Save again by Nick Pope. Pope called upon twice there. And Milan almost turning the score and opening the scoring. We'll bring Bruno back in to finish off his prediction. It was given there as it comes Milan again. With Pobega had that strike a few moments ago into Rafael Leao. Also had the team effort a few moments ago as well. Here comes Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's onside. He's at the penalty. Ruben Loftus-Cheek puts the ball back. Cleared away by Kieran Trippier, out for a throw-in. And fast start again back. Fast start by AC Milan to get back on the front foot. Ball out wide. Whipped in towards a penalty. Pobega's in there, but Pope comes to clear it away. He's back in towards a penalty area. Comes off the back of Bummin, and then Pope deflected behind from Olivier Giroud's effort. And Milan almost in the lead there, Bruno.
A couple of decent chances. Nick Pope makes a couple of good saves as well. And they're just going to turn on that extra level now, Milan, if they want to penetrate this Newcastle defence. Yes,
corner kick to be taken. And over on that far side, the hours inside the penalty area. So too the Furious as Header comes across. And Rafael Leao's back, puts it back across goal. And Newcastle let off there in the end. And he's worked all the way back to Magnon. And Milan almost punishing Newcastle from that set piece, but they couldn't profit from it. And now here comes Milan. We'll have to start at the back with Magnon. He's having to try and go one way or the other, and he's found a way out to Theo Hernandez, who flicks the ball forward. Trippier heads the ball away for Newcastle United. Heads go up. It's cleared away again. Heads go up again. Brought down. Ball act back to Magnon by Pobega. Last all this game, coming up towards 15 minutes on the clock, is Milan 0, Newcastle 0. No shortage of chances for Milan. Newcastle yet to really have a chance to goal themselves, as he's Kieran Trippier now to try and provide it for the Premier League side. The ball is all the way back to Nick Pope, just outside his penalty area. Plays into midway through the Newcastle off to Fabian Schär, across to Sven Bondman. Bondman back to nip up inside his penalty area. Now on the D to Fabian Schär. And Schär is being told to fetch the ball forward. Here. He roses into Alexander Isak, who comes short to get the ball. He's not really had much of a looking down the final third. He's having to come back inside his own half to get there as Murphy tries to get away down this right hand side for Newcastle. Hernandez push the ball straight across. Goes man has to force it to change it. There's Gordon from Burns headed down. And now Tonali keeps the ball in play and runs at his man. Tonali whips the ball in towards Isak and Murphy. Breaks Pill's found ball by Newcastle. Nothing given there by the Spanish referee. Guimaraes wins the ball back. He's back with Sven Bondman. Across now to Fabian Schär, who will look to fetch this game and fed this game in a positive way for Newcastle by making blocks and then potentially getting a goal for his side from a set piece. Here is Kieran Trippier. Down the line it goes to Alexander Isak. Midway inside the Newcastle half. And Isak wins a free kick. Following him there by Thor, and it's a free kick. Definitely foul there for you, Bruno.
Yeah, and I think the game has really opened up now since that Milan chance. The last 4 or 5 minutes have been much more open, much more end-to-end, and this is what you want to see from a big Champions League game. Now we just need that first goal maybe to get the game flowing.
Yes, it'd be interesting to see how this game does flow in the end, as here comes Newcastle United with Sven Bondman. Bondman plays the ball forward. And now Tonali. Back it goes here now as here comes Longstaff. Works his way well. Down the line it goes towards Tonali. It's flicked out of play for a Milan throw-in, which they'll leave for their captain, Calabria, to take, who goes back to Thorm. And now here comes back out Fikayo Tomori. Fikayo Tomori drops into Krunic. Krunic turns away. Spreads it into the captain. Calabria down the line to Chukwueze. Samuel Chukwueze attacks Dan Burn. Delivers a wonderful ball in. The outsiders away from goal. Comes out to Krunic, who strikes! Wonderful save from Nip Up again to tip the ball over the bar. And Milan knocking on the door again there, Bruno.
Really opening up now, Milan. They're really pressing now to get the first goal. They're getting the ball out wide to Chukwueze. He seems to be the danger man, but Nick Pope was there to save that shot from outside the box.
Yes, it remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0, if you're just joining us here on the commentary hub. JB Sports Storm FM commentary hub 2 as well, and also on Twitch. There's a corner for Milan, whipped into the penalty. It's down, and wonderful save again from Jordan, from Nick Pump, the goalkeeper there. Fantastic header down. And a fantastic save. He did everything right there, Teo Hernandez. But Pope pushed it over the bar. Corner kick to come again. Krunic will take it again. In the end there, can Newcastle see this one out? It's going to be Krunic to take it. In towards the penalty. Heads go up and away. This time it's behind for a goal kick. But Milan, couple of pressure, last couple of moments, Bruno, almost punishing them.
To be one of the stronger sides, both attacking and defending set pieces. The first one was well saved by Nick Pope. Hernandez did everything right, headed it into the ground, but it was fairly central. And then the second one was better defended, and it was way for a goal kick.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how this game unfolds now, as here comes Newcastle trying to go on the front foot. Isak Murphy closing down their man. Doubling up on their man as the out tries to get away from Trippier, who sticks out a foot. Trippier with some Champions League experience from his time at Atletico Madrid, as is Ruben Loftus-Cheek just flies over the bar again at San Siro. Ruben Loftus-Cheek going for goal there, and that was a fantastic effort, but just over the bar. And I agree with Mike there that Nick Pope is having an outstanding game so far in this game, keeping Newcastle in it with some fantastic saves. But Newcastle really need to test my man on soon if they are to try and get anything out of this game, because one of these chances for Milan, I think they're going to beat Nick Pope there and go beyond him, and Milan's going to take advantage from one of these in a moment or so. As here comes Milan again to do some defending this time, as Newcastle have the ball with Byrne down the line to Tonali, flicked on to Isak, into Gordon and back towards Alexander Isak, but Tomori's across there in front of the striker to tidy up, knocking back to Magnon. Byrne wins the header against Loftus-Cheek. Thumb just wins the header against Gordon, but Tonali nips in. Sandro Tonali does well, keeps hold of the ball for Newcastle, goes one way then the other, concedes a throw-in there. But Newcastle giving as good as they've got so far in the opening 21 and a half minutes of this game, Bruno. What have you made to the opening 21 and a half minutes of this match?
Yeah, I think it's been fairly even. Milan look dangerous, especially when they get the ball down the right-hand side to Chukwueze. Nick Pope's had a few decent saves to make, nothing that's absolutely extraordinary so far. But that's the problem with Newcastle. They're just allowing AC Milan to rack up those shots from outside the box. And let's not forget, this is the Champions League, where there's high-quality players, the best in the world. And you just have a feeling that one of those shots could just launch into the top corner. And then that's a goal behind already.
Yes, and Newcastle need to be wary of that throughout the game. And there was an offside there against Jacob Murphy again. And Mike says, very inspired performance so far. I agree, both teams looking really dangerous when they've got possession. Newcastle just need to work it better in the final third, as another ball is on the pitch. So a free kick for Milan can't be taken at the moment. And it was Grenic who cleared the ball away, so the free kick could be taken. And now is Pobega. Just keeps the ball in and clears it down the line, headed away by Kieran Trippier. Here is Sean Longstaff. Does well. Here now, a wonderful bit of play this. It goes. Here's Isak. Across into the path of Byrne, who can't get 1-2 there with Gordon. And now here is Loftus-Cheek, blocked by Tonali. Free kick to Milan. Krunic will take it, should I say. And he goes back to Thau. Now Tomori. And now Teo Hernandez. Down the line to Leao. Rafael Leao. Attacking. Pobega takes over. Rafael Leao again. This time moves in field. And now it is Krunic back to Termon just inside the Newcastle half. Krunic again. But to Thorm again. And back now it goes to the path of Magnon, who looks to clear the ball away downfield. And the ball was almost through. Take Pope, who finds Bondman into Trippier, who will look to get the ball forward. And Trippier does really well to find Fabian Schär into Bruno Guimaraes. No shots or no attempts by Newcastle so far. 8 by Milan, 6 on target for them in the opening 24 and a half minutes of this game, as we see Newcastle just trying to play it out from the back and do this successfully, and thank you, and Trippier who can run up towards halfway. Robson inside to Alexander Isak, who turns well away from Pobega, and still going Isak on wide to Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy's cross is blocked behind for a corner. That is better from Newcastle, but he's given a goal kick there. I'm sure that was a corner. Well, that is probably double back off of Murphy, but it looked like a corner to me. The referee's giving a goal kick. We'll have to stand by that decision. He's a lot closer than I am. And there's just a shot there of former Milan striker Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who was at the training ground yesterday in Milan, giving them some instructions with their manager after their defeat to Inter at the weekend. As Gordon cleaned the end of the ball there from Longstaff. He called Longstaff keeps the ball for Newcastle. Shaw nips in to keep Newcastle's attack ticking over. Murphy goes on the inside towards Longstaff, who can't get on the end of it. Tomorrow did well. Shepherd him away from it. Magnon's there. Keeps hold of the ball, Magnon. And Magnon will just watch this here. He's got Isak for company. Now give him a moment's rest. Alexander Isak moves away now so he can take the goal kick straight out of his hands if he wants to, or bowl the ball out. He kicks it straight out of his hands up towards halfway, just over halfway, and in midway inside. Newcastle off his Trippier just on the right touchline of the Newcastle half as they attack from left to right in this first half. If you just join us at the San Siro, it's Milan 0, Newcastle 0. If you just join us here on the commentary, we're in the Champions League match day 1 Group F encounter. And that's a free kick, is it? Foul on Longstaff. Referee says no. Play continues. Loftus-Cheek. Newcastle wanted a foul there instead of playing to the whistle. Referee said get up. Get on with the game. Milan are doing exactly that. Rafael Leao. Lose out to Tonali, now Gordon. Twisting one way then the other Gordon. Bruno Guimaraes. Turns away to Longstaff and Share. And now here comes Trippier. Into Longstaff. Here's Murphy now. Good play from Murphy as Newcastle just keep hold of the ball. Ball chipped over the top looking for Gordon, who can't get into the big ball, moves out of play for a goal kick. Calabria goes down, no free kick given, even though there was a little nudge as the ball rolled out anyway for a goal kick. They will take the goal kick instead of having a free kick. Will Milan. And his man Magnon who will take the goal kick. Eddie Howe just watching on. Done a remarkable job since joining Newcastle United. Here's Kieran Trippier. Goes down. Free kick given. Foul on Trippier. In the end there by Olivier Giroud. The former Newcastle, the former Chelsea and Arsenal player there. And he's got linked with Newcastle in the past. Trippier remains down. Bit of chance to get some things on the board. Instructions on the board and some drinks. The four officials having a word with one of the Milan backroom staff there. Is Bruno Guimaraes, who will take the goal kick. Wonderful play this will be. And now here is Bowman, plays it through to Isak. Isak, can he get the ball forward? He can't. And now, wonderful play. Isak, Gordon wins his side of free kick there. Does well Anthony Gordon to win the free kick. And gets Newcastle side favour of the field. And for me, looking back on that one, there is no free kick in there. But it shouldn't have been given. But the referee has given it, and we'll have to stand by the referee's decision. His decision will be final today. They will check things, but they can't check excuse me, the free kick decision. Trippier standing over this free kick as he looks to whip the ball in. Was it goes to Tonali instead to get the ball in towards the back post. Tonali's ball in's headed away. He's out for a throw in, which Anthony Gordon goes across to take. Be interesting to see how this game does unfold. Same here, G. Weswell says he's waiting to see what kind of season Alexander Isak is going to have. Here's Tonali towards Gordon, who loses out. Editors are away there, and here comes Milan with possession. Milan in shape with Newcastle have possession now. Half an hour gone, and remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0. And after 30 and a half minutes gone here, Bruno, been a good first half. I'll get your thoughts on that opening half an hour in a moment. As here comes Murphy, he's got Trippier on the outside of him. He finds Kieran Trippier onside. Is the England right back? Into short long step, goes down. No penalty given, says the referee. Longstaff is wanting one. The Spanish referee says no. And now Rafael Leao can fetch his ball away. We'll get Bruno's thoughts on that one in a moment. As the ball's played down the line looking for Teo Hernandez. Keeps the ball in play. Teo Hernandez. It was a penalty. A ball across and just wide from Olivier Giroud. Newcastle wanted a penalty down the other end. Giroud missing the other. Bruno. We'll talk about this transfer. Wonderful play from Teo Hernandez to get the ball in towards Olivier Giroud, the near post, but just couldn't turn the ball home there.
It was Leao on Longstaff. It was certainly clumsy because, I mean, he came in around the back, didn't get the ball, but probably not quite enough contact to warrant a penalty. In terms of the game, the first half an hour, it's been pretty even. I think Newcastle have certainly grown into the game. The last 10 minutes, they've been more active. And they're now the team who probably had the most possession in the last 7-8 minutes. And they're getting the ball into the box quicker. As the replay shows, it was probably not enough contact in there for Longstaff to go down for a penalty. But Milan at the other end on the counter-attack, dangerous. And Olivier Giroud probably should have done better with that chance, just a couple of yards out.
Yes, it's Gomes trying to bring the ball away, but he's ball down, free kick to Newcastle, but a bit further back from where he's actually gone down there, Bruno Guimaraes. Been a good matches so far. There's Loftus-Cheek who will commit that free kick there, and on the Newcastle midfielder, Trippier across there to take this free kick. And I wonder if he'll try something similar to how happened with the previous free kick a few moments ago, whether he's going to just get this ball in and around that penalty area himself. He does the latter. In towards a penalty. Punch clear by Magnon. And Newcastle have to get back in numbers as Teo Hernandez gets the ball through for Rafael Leao. Who's onside? Rafael Leao. 6-1 Newcastle defender down. Still going, Rafael Leao. Still going. Chips over. Samuel Chukwueze. Verbega cleared off the line. Comes back out to the edge of the penalty area. Here's Teo Hernandez again. Puts the ball back in towards the penalty area. Greenwich is inside the penalty area. The shot comes in. Verbega shot again. Loftus-Cheek's there now. Loftus-Cheek's shot is deflected behind. And Newcastle, unfortunately, not to go behind there, Bruno.
Four or five bites at the cherry, just couldn't get any with any power on target. Dangerous counter-attack. Leao at it again, straight down the middle, using his pace. And it just feels like it's a matter of time before either side gets the first goal of the game, and that will really stretch this game open.
Yes, corner then from Vega in, then he's punched that away. Nick Pope is behind for another corner, I think, or is he going to have for a throw in this time? I think it may be a throw in. Excuse me. Ball in towards a penalty, cleared away as Newcastle United and Milan battling away. Almost 10 minutes to go till half time. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0, and the ball is not back to Magnon. And Bruno, with the opening 34 and a half minutes or so, or 34 minutes or so, which manager do you see being the happier of the two managers?
Happy of the two sides. I think they were probably slight underdogs going into this tough game, Newcastle. And Milan, they haven't really been able to assert their possession-based football quite yet. Newcastle, the last 15 minutes or so, have been much better on the ball. They've kept it nicely. But they've still got to get Alexander Isak involved a little bit more. They have attacking prowess on the bench. with Callum Wilson and Harvey Barnes if they need it. At the moment, both sides just need that extra little bit of spark in the attacking third.
Yes, and I agree they need a spark in the attacking third. We're just waiting to see what's happening here. Is a Newcastle throw-in. Taylor Hernandez is not getting the ball back to Newcastle here for this throw-in. And he should be booked for this here. There's a foul on Murphy there. I'm not sure if it's a... And the referee's telling him to give the ball back. He's not listening. Newcastle finally got the ball back. And Trippier's to the free kick, to the throw into Fabian Schär. And the game's now back underway. The referee was getting very annoyed there with Teo Hernandez for not following a simple instruction. And there's a player that's gone down. It's Tonali who's gone down again. Shaw keeps hold of the ball for Newcastle. Play continues as referee gives advantage. Here's Gordon. Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes. Going one way, then the other. Finds Trippier. It's a free kick to Newcastle United again. Foul on Bruno Guimaraes. And he plays it quickly to Bondman. Milan 0, Newcastle 0 as Milan have to defend here now as Gordon picks up. Cuts in field, Anthony Gordon. Wonderful defensive play from Tomori to get back in there and get a touch to the ball and knock it into the path of his goalkeeper, who gets Hernandez away quickly. Now is Loftus-Cheek. Brilliant ball out wide to Chukwueze. Goes one way, then the other. Chukwueze whips the ball into the back post. The outside back across goal. Chukwueze's there! And he's gone over. Milan looking for a penalty in the back post when Olivier Giroud went down. Not given in the end. And this is a glorious chance for Milan to take the lead just before half time. How have Milan not scored in this first half? I'll never know. And Milan, Nux will be feeling very lucky here. Here's Kieran Trippier in towards Alexander Isak. How wide? It goes to Murphy. Murphy gets the ball back to Trippier into Longstaff. Bob good back for goal. The shot is blocked. Best chance there for Newcastle. And then Rafael Leao, the architect of Milan's attacks, trying to get in this long ball forward. Bondman and Shaw defending between them. Trippier now has it for Newcastle, who will come forward down the line to Longstaff. What can Longstaff do here now? He finds Trippier just inside the Newcastle half. Back to Alexander Isak now. Here's Longstaff to Trippier. Trippier spotted a wonderful run from Dan Burn out that far side. But inside the penalty area. Defence has to come across there and cut it away. Headed by Bondman is forward towards Burn as he beat Olivier Giroud to the ball. And now Bruno Guimaraes is fouled there by Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It remains down to Bruno Guimaraes. And this challenge here from Olivier Giroud initially and Loftus-Cheek is a nasty one and definite free kick. But we're just seeing a break here from Inter that what happened a few moments ago. Rafael Leao inside of the box, still one or two players down, and then just fell over, and then Chukwueze and that one cleared off the line there fantastically well, but it looked like there was an handball in there, so I don't think that would have counted. Newcastle have a free kick over on that far side to be taken by Kieran Trippier. Trippier runs into Longstaff, finds Fabian Schär to deliver the ball in towards the penalty area. Heads go up and Isak, who controls it well inside the penalty area, he goes down, cleared away, he's out for throw-in, and this is a Newcastle throw-in deep inside the Milan office. There's the first yellow card of the game. Caliber, the captain for Milan, having a go at the referee. He needs to be careful there, does Davide Calabria, who otherwise is going to be getting sent off here. He's having a go saying, I'm the captain, I should be allowed to speak to you, but not in the manner that he was speaking to him. He's Isak. Was on for Jacob Murphy into the box. Jacob Murphy goes for goal and just wide from Newcastle United. First real opportunity outside the penalty for Newcastle comes from Jacob Murphy, but that effort is just wide of the target. Brilliant bit of play from Isak. A few moments ago as well, we see he was involved in that build up there, which so Murphy was shot wide. And that's the reason why he had to go yellow card there, did the Milan captain, having a really go and getting into the face of the referee there. But going back to that Murphy chance, good chance for Newcastle, just couldn't steer it on target there, Bruno.
Curl it into the far corner from the edge of the box. And it's probably the real first chance of note that Newcastle have had, certainly when it comes to shots. And they're going to need to do that a bit more. They're going to need more quality finishes. It was a little bit wayward in the end from Murphy, high and wide. But Newcastle, if they get into those positions, they've got to keep the ball on target, because that's where you score the goals.
Yes, and it'd be interesting to see how it goes in the second half. But Burns ball forward, looking for Gordon, is out of play. Milan have a throw in here now. Davide Calabria looks to get the ball downfield, looking for Olivier Giroud. That was Calabria, who has to go all the way back to my Magnon. In the end, it remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0 if you just tuned into us here on the commentary hub. Also live across JB Sports and Storm FM and commentary hub 2. Also on our Twitch channel as well if you want to listen over there. If you're listening via Twitch and you're about to head off out, what you can do is you can connect to, just put audio only on your Twitch, on the Twitch feed on your mobile phone, if you're safe and legal to do so. Connect your phone up to your car speaker and put it on there like you're listening to another radio station which broadcasts football to you in your car, and you can take us wherever you go. We'll be here today for this Milan Newcastle game, or we'll be with you on Thursday for one of the matches as well in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League, where we've got Liverpool, Aston Villa, Brighton all in action. Unfortunately, we won't be able to feature any of the games from the Champions League tomorrow night, but we'll try and feature at least one Champions League game per group, per round, match days, and same in the Europa League or Europa Conference League. We'll pick one of the leagues per week to bring you their matches as well. As is Bern for Newcastle in the Champions League. Our Champions League match offering for this match week number 1, and it's out of play for a throw-in, which will be taken down the line. Is a free kick to Milan, foul over on the far side on Chukwueze by Dan Burn, who's been penalised again there, and is been a good first half despite him remaining goalless as we enter the final minute of the first half. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. Magnon has possession and he just gets the ball forward. There's Tomori back to Magnon, and now look to fetch the ball forward back to Magnon again. Magnon will look to get the ball forward for Milan. Good flick on there, and now it is Rafael Leao. Leao coming forward. One full run from Rafael Leao. He's got the ball out wide with Theo Hernandez. Going one way then the other Hernandez. Brings the ball all the way back to Calabria. Out wide it goes to Chukwueze. Samuel Chukwueze down one side. Going twisting one way then the other. About 7 minutes to stoppage time we're going to get the end of this first half. He's it's only a throw-in though for Milan, as we're now into stoppage time at the end of the first half. There is no stoppage time at the end of the first half. 0-0 is the scoreline at the break between the Italian giant AC Milan and one of the greats of English football in the past few seasons. And back in Europe after 21 years, we have to have impressive end to last season. At the break is Milan 0, Newcastle 0. And Bruno, let's get your thoughts on the first half.
Milan probably with the better of the chances. Newcastle just haven't had much in the attacking third. They do have star power on the bench, Harvey Barnes, Callum Wilson being two of them. I think we're going to have to see probably a couple of attacking changes from the Geordies soon if they want to get a goal in this game, because at the moment you can't really see where the goal is coming from them. Milan have looked good, they've looked dangerous, certainly down the wings and on the counter-attack. But at the moment both defences have been pretty solid, no clear-cut massive chances, except for maybe Rafael Leao one-on-one with Nick Pope. But at the moment, it's a good game, and although it's 0-0, it's been very interesting and end-to-end for the last 20-25 minutes.
Yes, we'll just ask you quickly, Bruno, before we let you go for half time. Which manager do you reckon will be the happier of the two, would you say, out of Eddie Howe, who's the Newcastle manager, and Stefano Pioli of AC Milan?
You know, it was always going to be tough for Newcastle. A lot of these players, more than half of them, have never had Champions League or European experience. So just to get those first 45 minutes under their belts, gaining confidence, gaining a bit of experience, and now maybe they can be a little bit more free in the second half. AC Milan will have that pressure of the first home game. They're the home side. They're probably expected to win against Newcastle at home, because these are the sort of games that you have to win in a tough group like this one is. And so you'd expect Milan to be a little bit more fast and furious coming out in the second half and try and get the win, and that could really open and stretch the game up for Newcastle on the counter-attack.
Yes, be interested to see how the second half does unfold. Myself and Bruno will be back with you shortly for that. We're now going to take a break, and when we return, we'll bring you all the other scores. There's been an equaliser goal in the game between Young Boys and Leipzig. Young Boys back on level terms with Misha Elia on 33 minutes with the goal there, and the half-time whistle has just blown there as well. So is Milan 0, Newcastle 0 in our feature game, and is Young Boys 1, or be Leipzig 1 at the break in the other early kick-off in the Champions League. We'll be back shortly for the start of the second half. With the score here, Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. Welcome back to the Common Troops coverage as the teams emerge from the tunnel at the start of the second half, and it looks as though we may see a few changes in a moment from Milan at the start of the second half, with Pulisic and Florenzi, I think it is, being spoken to by the Milan assistant. Be interesting to see what changes, if any, Milan make in the second half, and it'd be interesting how Newcastle shape up the second half. I know that Florenzi will be coming on right now. He's going to be the half-time change for Milan, and Florenzi comes on for the captain, Davide Calabria, right back, and I think that's probably a right decision with the skipper for Milan on a yellow card. Straight swap it is as well for Milan. I'm hearing as well with Calabria coming off and Florenzi coming on, and that could really change things for Milan defensively as well as attackingly now, especially now we haven't got a yellow carded player over on that far side. We are waiting the second half to kick off, which will be Milan to do so with Olivier Giroud, and away we go then. The second half is off and underway with Milan attacking the goal away to our right in this second half as is Florenzi's first touch. It is straight down the line looking for Chukwueze. Pope's come a long way. He has to edit time for a throw in, and Milan have started very well at the start of this second half. And now is Olivier Giroud back to Chukwueze, and Chukwueze is flagged for being in an offside position, coming back from an offside position as he received the ball there from the Newcastle, from the former Chelsea and Arsenal striker Olivier Giroud. The camera angle we've just seen there shows he was offside. And what do you reckon the two managers will have said at half time then, Bruno? Starting with Eddie Howe, what do you reckon Eddie Howe will have been saying to his team at the start of the half time end of this second period?
For the first 45 minutes, they've stayed in the game. They haven't conceded yet. But they want a little bit more attacking prowess, I think, in that final third. We'll be looking at his bench at Callum Wilson and Harvey Barnes especially to try and see him make those changes. But I think that he'll be the happy of the two managers. We've obviously seen Pioli. He's not been too pleased. He's got Alessandro Florenzi already on at half-time for his captain, Calabria, who was on a yellow card. And it was an interesting yellow card because it looked like he was probably about to get sent off after arguing a lot with the referee. I think that was a smart decision as well. And he also has a lot of options off the bench. Pulisic, Jovic, name a couple. But I think Eddie Howe will be happy with the first 45 minutes.
Yes, it is. Gordon now for Newcastle, bringing the ball forward. He's on. Sandro Tonali on the edge of the box. Sandro Tonali against his former club. Shot is blocked. Breaked away there with Tonali almost at a goal there. The opening exchange at the start of this second half. Headed is up and away by Newcastle United. He brings it down. Heads go up. Here's Bruno Guimaraes, who will get the ball out wide to Kieran Trippier, who just keeps the ball in play. Brilliantly there does the former Atletico Madrid player. Now here's Bruno Guimaraes. Back he goes well to Fabian Schär, who will come forward here for Newcastle United. Spreading the play well to Anthony Gordon. Gordon with a brilliant ball into Alexander Isak. Isak does well. Sandro Tonali. Back he goes to Dan Burn and further back to Bondman, who switches the play to Trippier. Edit infield to Fabian Schär. Will go through the sides at the start of the second half shortly when we have a stoppage in play, but we've not yet had a stoppage in play. The ball is played down the line towards the one of Anthony Gordon. He goes behind for a goal kick to Milan. So the lineups for the second half for Milan is Magnon in goal, Alessandro Florenzi, Malik Flo and Fikayo Tomori at the centre halves, with Teo Hernandez as a left back, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Krunic and Pobega in midfield, with Chukwueze, Giroud and Liao in attack. from Newcastle got the legs in the moment of scoring. Pick up the ball as a touch of edge between a Milan player and Sandro Tonali down there from Newcastle. No, it's Fabian Schär and let's see which Milan player it is there. And it's number 32 there, I think it is. Pabega, yes it is. Who's down. So quickly running through the Newcastle side at the start of this second half is Nick Pope in goal, Kieran Trippier, Fabian Schär, Sven Botman and Dan Burn across the back. Sean Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali in midfield with Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon in attack. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0. 4 minutes of the second half gone. And the ball is forward. Headed away there by Burn. Well, this was Loftus-Cheek who takes away from Tonali. And then Tonali bites back at him and concedes a throw. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0. But good bit defensive work there from Sandro Tonali up against Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who I'm not sure if he ever played alongside him when he was at Milan last year. As here comes Newcastle trying to get the ball away, but Milan straight back onto him. Here's Longstaff now bringing the ball forward. Sean Longstaff goes down into the centre circle. The referee gives his side a free kick there. Foul on Sean Longstaff by, I think it was Pabega. And we'll just see, yes, Pabega pulling his shirt all the way. Longstaff goes down. Free kick given. And Newcastle United look to get this free kick going quickly. Tonali's on an amazing run. He's just lost his foot in the vital moment there. But Tonali's back to his feet now, and here is Dan Burn to clear away downfield. He stays in play. But now he goes out for a throw-in. Midway inside the Milan half. And it's going to be a throw-in to Newcastle, which will be taken by Dan Burn. He's just in front of his own bench where Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall are watching on here for Milan. For Newcastle against Milan, should I say, trying to see what Milan's defence are shaping up to try and give Burn some instructions. But his Mayfield strikes a goal, but just over the bar in the end. 5 minutes of the second half gone. Milan 0, Newcastle 0. Mayfield with another shot over the bar again. But Milan have yet really seen their goalkeeper, Magnon, tested in this game so far, Bruno Winter.
I think it was Shah. But Newcastle getting into more attacking areas. They're moving the ball around a little bit more freely, a bit more confidence. But they're not going to score with shots like that from miles outside the box. They need to play it in towards the penalty area a bit more and be a bit more cute in possession.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that one does unfold. Let's see how this attack unfolds now for Milan as they're trying to come over on that far side with Teo Hernandez, but it's been knocked back to Tomori and now all the way back to Magnon in goal. Magnon back to Tomori. Tomori does well to fetch the ball forward and up towards halfway, breaks in field for Krunic. Krunic looks to turn away and get the ball into the path of Florenzi. Florenzi does really well, and Florenzi shoots, deflects just wide off his own man in the end from Florenzi's effort. And Milan going close there with their first chance of the second half. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0 as the balls break towards Jacob Murphy and he's out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle, to Milan, and they've taken it very, very quickly here now. And Magnon gets the ball into Teo. Now Tomori will look to fetch the ball forward for Milan. The former Chelsea player and England under 21 international, now part of the senior setup of the England squad by Gareth Southgate, is Fikayo Tomori. But Teo Hernandez, the Frenchman, has the ball into Krunic, and he goes back to the Englishman in Fikayo Tomori, all all the way back to my Magnon in goal. The Frenchman looked to clear the ball downfield with his right foot. Header flicked on there by Chukwueze, but Newcastle win the ball back. He's out of play for a throw into Newcastle, which Dan Burn will come across to take, and looks to get Newcastle on the front foot and downfield as much as he can. Dan Burn, where's he going with this throwing? Still going. Burn, he takes it quickly into Gordon, and Gordon spreads the play well. Trippier brings it down. Longstaff out wide to Murphy. Murphy with the ball. It was a penalty area, just can't reach Isak. Good punch clear by Magnon. And now Chukwueze can try and get the ball away for Milan. A wonderful chance from Bruno Guimaraes. And that's a wonderful chance there from Newcastle with a brilliant ball into the penalty area there, Bruno.
Switching the play, Trippier, Longstaff, and Murphy all involved. And that's what Newcastle need to do. They need to get crosses into the box, and they need to find the second balls. But they just need that bit more quality inside that 6-yard area, just that sort of poacher to get the head onto the crosses. And you just wonder, is Callum Wilson the man to do that?
Yes, and I wonder how long it'll be before we see Newcastle's number 9, Callum Wilson, come on and try and help them fire them to some goals in the Champions League. Callum Wilson, a big star for Newcastle United. As a free kick given, foul on Loftus-Cheek by Tonali. And this has been a good match today to watch. It's Milan 0, Newcastle 0. If you're just tuning into us on the commentary, Russ Vernon and Bruno Winter providing you with all the action on this game today, and we're going to keep you bang up to date in this match throughout the second half, as we see a free kick to Milan on the near side, foul on Chukwueze, and his Krunic who's come across to take it, the defensive minded midfielder. Krunic whips the ball in, edges go up and headed away brilliantly by Dan Burn, the left back, who was in the centre back role at that moment, watching, adding an extra centre back into the defensive areas there for Newcastle, and they'll be doing the same again as the captain of the Milan side for the second half, which is number 19, Teo Hernandez, goes down and wins his side a free kick up against Bruno Guimaraes, who's claiming it wasn't a free kick. We'll see what happens with this free kick, and then we'll bring in Bruno Winter to give you an update on what's happening, what his thoughts of this game's happening so far. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0 in the Champions League. Free kick to Milan then, which will be taken by Krunic. Also, Liao there as well. It's falling towards a penalty, punched clear by Nick Pope, up into the air. Tonali heads the ball clear. It breaks for Milan inside the centre circle through Florenzi, and now Teo Hernandez drops the ball all the way back to my Magnon, who clears it first time, right-footed, all the way down from one end of the pitch to the other, and brilliant control by the chest and the head of Nick Pope to give Newcastle possession, and he finds Bondman, who finds share to Longstaff. Out wide is Trippier. Trippier in field to Murphy. Murphy goes down. Free kick given to Newcastle. Foul by Tomori on Murphy, as we see Newcastle pushing forward, try and get the opening goal of the game in this game. The longer it goes a 0-0, restless this Milan side will be, and the restless if you'll see from Stefano Pioli, the Milan manager, as a throw to Milan, which have taken quickly. As Tomori has possession. He's looking for options. In fact, Tomori goes into Krunic, who finds his thumb, who can look to get the ball forward. He switches the play well to do that to find Teo Hernandez. Hernandez down the line, and it's Leao now, who's got the ball from Pebega's pass. Now here comes a wonderful crossfield pass to pick out Chukwueze up against Dan Burn. And Dan Burn's done an excellent job on Chukwueze so far tonight. Not really much joy as Chukwueze down the Milan right, Newcastle left up against Dan Burn, and Anthony Gordon, but skipped away from Gordon this time. Comes infield towards the edge of the penalty area. Lays it off to Teo Hernandez. Now Krunic has the ball. Krunic looking one way then the other. Through to Loftus-Cheek, who helps the ball on. Newcastle have possession with Anthony Gordon, who breaks up towards halfway. That plays the ball down the line looking for Isak to chase. Tomorrow's across there. Isak makes him play it. And then there's a foul there by Anthony Gordon on Krunic, who takes it quickly. The free kick. Forming to the guy Tomori, who's been told to push forward with the ball and hits it long over the top, looking for Rafael Leao, who wins the header well. He headed out wide towards Pabega, but brilliant challenge there by Trippier to get Murphy away. Now Longstaff. Longstaff is steaming over halfway. He's got Trippier outside of him. He's got Murphy down the line. Goes to Murphy. Out wide to Trippier now, who's joined the attack from right back. Bruno Guimaraes comes forward in towards the penalty area. Tonali just inside the penalty area where he was flagged offside as Longstaff won the ball back. Off Loftus-Cheek will come across to that far side. With an hour gone, and just before I get your thoughts, there are two changes for Milan. Is another double substitution. This time, Samuel Chukwueze coming off to be replaced by Christian Pulisic. The first change up against from the team that knows him quite well from his time in the Premier League with Chelsea. For Chukwueze, and the other one is Pabega coming off, and Pabega will be replaced by Tijan Rangers there for Milan. So just over an hour gone now in the game between Milan and Newcastle. Remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. And Bruno Winters alongside me. And Bruno, it's been a good game to watch. It's just lacking the end product from both teams, as Newcastle about to make a double change of their own next time the ball goes out of play, with Callum Wilson and Miguel Almiron coming on. What's been your thoughts on the opening 61.5 minutes or so in this game? And we'll get that in a moment. It is Pulisic down the left hand side right of Newcastle's defence, right hand side from Milan. Ball whips in, goes behind for a goal kick. Bruno, if you want to give us your thoughts quickly before the substitutions take place for Newcastle United.
Poor finishing and poor attacking third play, and now we're seeing the substitutions in those final attacking areas. We'll see if Christian Pulisic or Almiron or Wilson can really have an impact in that attacking third.
Yes, and it's Jacob Murphy off for Callum Wilson is the first change. Miguel Almiron also coming on, and the player coming off for Miguel Almiron will be Anthony Gordon. So double substitution there for Newcastle United as they look to get the ball moving forward with this goal kick from Pope, and he goes short to Fabian Schär across his box, which is very dangerous to do, to Sven Botman. Now Dan Burn back to his goalkeeper Pope. Pope switches the ball out wide to looking for the run of Miguel Almiron, who's gone out to that right hand side. Miguel Almiron, Isak out to this left hand side, with Wilson now in the attacking through the middle area now. Different sort of a front three now for Newcastle, and interesting to see what happens now in this final, just less than half an hour, final few moments to go. As a shot comes in and is saved well by Nick Pope, diving away to his left hand side with Newcastle on the quick counter attack as Trippier runs over halfway. Just can't keep the ball in play. He overcooks his run and touch. Throwing takes them quickly to Krunic as Milan try to get on the front foot fairly quickly themselves. Ball played down the line looking for the run of Loftus-Cheek, but here is Bruno Guimaraes to Miguel Almiron, and Almiron turns away from his man. Guimaraes is there. Here's Longstaff. Guimaraes again. Now Miguel Almiron. Guimaraes again to Longstaff. Guimaraes again. It's lots involved in the last few minutes for Newcastle. He commits a foul, but the referee says advantages. Milan have possession of the football. And the ball is played forward by Liab, who is given away to Longstaff, and now Shaw into the path of Trippier. Now Longstaff again. Miguel Almiron. Bruno Guimaraes and Almiron combining once more. Those two have looked to combine when he's come on the field in the last few minutes. Almiron and Guimaraes, and Almiron has it back. Here is Fabian Schär for Newcastle United, looking for options. And now the ball is played out wide. And a brilliant ball down the line looking for the win of Callum Wilson, who's caused Milan some problems. He's out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle, and he'll look to cause a few problems like Isak did when Isak was through the middle of Callum Wilson, as they see the Milan Ultras, they're called, bouncing up and down, creating a lot of noise and a lot of atmosphere. Milan 0, Newcastle United 0, and there's going to be a long throw in towards the penalty area, just cleared away in the end, out of play for a throw into Newcastle United. Trippier will tear the throw in for Newcastle. Longstaff coming short. One way. Almiron is down the line the other way. And Almiron comes back to get the ball and drops it back to Bowman on halfway. We'll find Schär now on that right hand side. Just midway inside the Milan half, should I say, is Wilson, who was well. Callum Wilson, that's what Newcastle have missed. With Isak being through the middle, missed Wilson's auto play. And if they're there in the first half, they probably had a lot more joy and probably wouldn't have been as much isolated as Giroud's his face, but doesn't go down, so the play continues. And Almiron tries to get around to Morey, who just shepherds the ball out well, knocks it back to his goalkeeper, and in the end it's Milan 0, Newcastle 0, if you're just tuning into us here on the commentary of Russ Vernon and Bruno Winter, bringing you this coverage today. There's Zlatan Ibrahimovic again. You've seen another shot of him on our monitors as we see the game there. He's out of play for a throw-in to Newcastle United. Dan Burn to take. Burn looking for options. Tonali making a run down the line. Wilson trying to come for a two. Milan just won the header as Drew nips in against Burn, but then Burn clears it away as Drew tried to flick it over Burn's head and get Milan on the charge by finding Christian Pulisic. But Newcastle have forced Milan to go all the way back to the left back and right back areas in times of this, as that goes forward there by Bowman, and now Milan will come forward with possession. Is out wide with Rafael Leao. Leao plays the ball back into the path of Reinders. Reinders looks to keep the ball moving. Teo Hernandez. Chip ball into the penalty area. Too easy for Nick Pope and Newcastle. Are coming up towards 22, or just over 22 minutes away from this game ending in a goalless draw and them getting the first point of the tournament. And the referee's having a word with Alexander Isak as he thought he took Newcastle's free kick in the correct position, but he took it from the wrong place. And Gimenez just drops it back to Bondman, who'll find share now for Newcastle United. Remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0, 68 minutes played. From 69 minutes played, we see Newcastle have had 4 attempts overall to Milan's 17. We knew it was going to be this dominant, with it being Newcastle's first game back in Europe in 21 years. Evening to Luke Turton, hopefully you're doing fantastically well, my friend. You've not really missed much apart from some of Milan's chances. Here is the run from the penalty area, from outside the penalty area, from Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who got the ball into the penalty area. Newcastle just throwing it to Isak quickly back from the Pope to try and get them on the front foot. Isak cuts in field and spreads the play well to find Kieran Trippier, who's got a lot of space to run into. Miguel Almiron goes down the outside, but goes into Callum Wilson, as Almiron being offside. Wilson is not fouled there according to the referee, and Teo Hernandez can come away with the ball now from Milan. Teo Hernandez running forward, going one way, then the other. Teo Hernandez! Shot is blocked. There is Sven Bondman now, who can come away with possession. There's a Milan player down on the floor, and Almiron reluctantly puts the ball out as Loftus-Cheek is down on the floor. But since the substitutions have come on, Milan about to make another one of those substitutions. I think he looks trying to see who that is about to come on in a moment there for Milan. But with the changes Newcastle have made, with Almiron and Wilson coming on, what sort of dimension is that giving now Newcastle's attack, Bruno, would you feel?
Number 9's out on the pitch, Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak. He looks like he's sort of playing more as a left winger. But at the moment, it hasn't really worked out too well. Wilson's struggling to hold up the ball, but it's still every time you can get the ball in the box. He is a poacher and he knows where the goal is, and they'll be looking for crosses or just ricochets, and I hope that one of them falls his way.
Yes, and if you were Eddie Howe, with the number of changes that you can make and you've got players on the bench, we'll see who this is for Milan faces. Number 80, Yunus Musa, is about to come on, and he's replacing number 8, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who was just down injured a couple of moments ago. But if you was Eddie Howe, and you've got the likes of Harvey Barnes, you've got Elliot Anderson, who's a midfielder as well, who can change things. I'm about to see who would you fetch on first out of those two, and it looks like he's going for Elliot Anderson, who's coming on right now to be replaced by Sandro Tonali. What have you made of Tonali's performance tonight, Bruno, on his return to the San Siro against his former club in Milan?
He's had quite the impact that he would have wanted to, coming back to his old stomping ground. But at the same time, you've got to remember, he's a new player in a new country with a new team. It will take time to adapt. This level is... He's played against these players before, but he hasn't quite been at it. Newcastle in the midfield, they've been overrun a little bit at times, and I hope that Elliot Anderson, the academy player, will have a bigger impact on the game, certainly going forward.
Yes, and it'd be interesting to see how Newcastle will fare in the return game at St James's Park against his former side as well, Sandro Tonali. It's a throwing there, and Tonali just putting a ball and sat on the floor just near the dugouts, inside the Newcastle dugout there. And he did get a good reception when his name was read out at the start of play tonight by the Milan faithful. This Sandro Tonali. It's been a very, very good match, if move is to be told, as they come bowling towards the penalty area, and just over the bar from from Rafael Leao, and Leao goes down holding his elbow there. But Rafael Leao, brilliant run into the box, header just over the bar, and that's a glorious chance for Milan to take the lead.
Yeah, and it's better for Milan, moving the ball nicely down the right-hand side. Florenzi involved massively. Great cross, and Leao, he's got to do better. He's got to hit the target. And if he does, it's 1-0 Milan. Big chance, the biggest of the game.
Yes, biggest chance of the game falls to Milan and to Rafael Leao, but he couldn't take the chance there to punish them in the end. We've already had some early goals in the EFL Trophy to tell you about this evening. We'll bring you up to date with those in just a moment or so. Still 1-1 between Young Boys and Leipzig in the EFL Trophy. Just to tell you, Milan just come forward, so we'll break off from that. And here's Musa now, the substitute who's just come on a few moments ago for Callum Hudson, for Ruben Loftus-Cheek into the penalty for Christian Pulisic. Ball across from Giroud as well. And just as Teo Hernandez is coming into the back post, Miguel Almiron comes across and makes a fantastic block there, Bruno, to keep Newcastle a 0-0.
Newcastle now really soaking up the pressure. That's not what they want. Their Paraguayan winger. They've got to wake up here a bit, Newcastle, because at the moment it looks like Milan turning up the heat, and it's just a matter of time before they find the opening goal.
Yes, it's going to be a corner in towards a penalty breaks. There's a box shot from Pulisic is blocked. Comes out, shot again is blocked. This time it was Teo Hernandez who had the effort. My man Jon has got the ball on there, just coming up towards the centre circle. He's inside the centre circle now with Florenzi. Now Milan are being forced to go back to throw, and now they will try and come forward. Here is Musa. Yunus Musa, the substitute, is on the field and causing Newcastle a lot of problems. So too is Christian Pulisic as well. Since he's come on, we know all about Pulisic, and so do the majority of this Newcastle side. We're playing against him week in, week out. Up again when he was at Chelsea, and also on some international fronts when their countries have come up against the US MNT, the USA men's national team, if no one knows what that is. And now here comes Miguel Almiron, who's nipped in ahead of Rafael Leao and is away here. Miguel Almiron still going. Is he being held there by Tomori? No, says the referee. And now Milan can come away. Rafael Leao just loses out, and Trippier just can't keep the ball in place. Throw into Milan, which is taken quickly by Teo Hernandez to Rafael Leao, and Leao's going away. But brilliant challenge from Fabian Schär to come forward. A quick throw again from Teo Hernandez, and Schlager has put Leipzig in front. Xavier Schlager on 73 minutes. Young Boys 1, Leipzig 2 is the latest score now. Ball out wide for Florenzi into whip the ball into the penalty area. He goes all the way through to Teo Hernandez on that far side. Teo Hernandez wins his side of throwing, takes it quickly. He has to go backwards though, and that's Rangers who gets the ball back from Teo Hernandez. Wonderful bit of play this, as they try and get the ball into the penalty area. Newcastle just stand firm and head the ball away. Wilson trying to know where the ball's going to bounce. He challenges for the ball and wins it, but he gives the ball away. Advantage is played for Milan. There's a foul by Wilson in there according to the referee. I didn't see anything wrong with that, but the Spanish referee, Jose Maria Sanchez, did. And quite surprisingly, I'm not going to tempt fate that we did the other night, like I did last night. I'll wait till the game's finished before I say anything. As Hernandez comes in at the far post and clears the ball away, up and over behind for a goal kick. Let's just quickly bring you the goals from the EFL Trophy games. Exeter 0, Reading 1, Leyton Orient 1, Fulham 0, Morecambe 0, Liverpool 1. They're the goals that have gone in so far, with Tom McIntyre for Reading, Ethan Galbraith for Leyton Orient, and Matthias Musi Luski for Liverpool under 21s away at Morecambe. This evening, the EFL Trophies, Magnon is down injured for AC Milan. He just went down off the ball and as if to say, no, he can't continue. So his course is run, and it looks like Magnon may have to come off here. And I wonder if we'll see Sporitello or Mirante come on for him if needed with this substitutions happening here. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. In the end there, we're just going to be the feedback. There's just been a noise there from someone next to Bruno, so hopefully that noise will stop shortly. We'll keep you up to date. Magnon looks like he's having to come off here now, and he's going to be Marco Sportiello will be the player to come on for Magnon. And this is not very often we see a change involving a goalkeeper coming onto the field. And I wonder if now this will give Newcastle the impetus to go on and get something from the game, Bruno, with Milan having to change their goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I think it's a psychological blow as much as anything to Milan. Magnon, he's a top goalkeeper in the Serie A. Of course, they had to bring one in to replace Donnarumma, who left a couple of years ago to go to PSG, and he's been a solid pair of hands in that Milan net. But yeah, with 10, 15 minutes remaining, will that have much of a change in the game? Potentially not a drastic one. But at the same time, he's one of the leaders of the defence. He's an experienced head back there, and it's a blow.
Yes, it is really a big blow for Milan, and it's a positive for Newcastle United in their quest to get at least a point from this game if they can do their defensive work at one end and potentially late on, with no real time left for Milan to equalise from it, if they can just edge it, wouldn't that spark scenes in the away end away to our left hand side as Newcastle win a free kick. Foul on Bruno Guimaraes, and there's a yellow card there for Yunus Musa in the end from the referee there, and it's interesting to see how this game does unfold. And Musa is not happy that he got a yellow card on the decision went for him. Jason Tino not happy that it was only a yellow card. I don't think he was just having a word with the fourth official just there. Eddie Houghton on his technical edge of his technical Tindo just a bit further behind us. Dan Burn heads wide from Trippier's free kick into the penalty area. 8 minutes to go here. Is Milan 0, Newcastle 0 as we come towards the end of this game. And in a couple of moments, Bruno will be asking you to get ready for your player of the match. Well, just before you do give it out on air, if you just messaging me through, so then we can get ready to update the banner to put on our screens when we do announce our player of the match. Be later, and it is sponsored by Commentary Services as Newcastle win a free kick on the edge of their own box, fouled by Olivier Giroud, and Giroud not happy. Giroud is the latest player to go into the referee's no book. Here it remains Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. If you're just joining us here on the commentary hub, we're also live across JB Sports, Storm FM, commentary hub 2 as well, and also on our Twitch channel as well if you want to listen to us there, you can do so. We've got most of our listeners coming from the main Commentary channel. Really do appreciate that. One from Commentary 2 and one from our Twitch channel as well. So thank you all for tuning in. And I can't recall Newcastle having a shot on target so far, was. I'll just double check for you in a second. Next time the ball goes out of plays, Pulisic comes down the left hand, comes down the right hand side for Milan, Newcastle's left, and wins. I thought he wanted his side a goal kick, well, a corner kick, should I say, but instead the referee's did a goal kick to Newcastle, which is not happy about. And I don't recall Newcastle having a shot on target or the goalkeeper having to make a save. And I'm, in fact, they've had 5 shots, 0 on goal, Newcastle United in the match, 3 off goal. So that's the Newcastle from the Newcastle front. I'll tell you the full stats at the end of the game, but just before we do leave you tonight, as we just get ready for this game to come towards the conclusion. Final 5 so minutes left to play between Milan and Newcastle United, where it remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0, and Newcastle just really having to defend for their lives in this game and try and get a point out of it as the outbreaks into the penalty area for Milan, as Newcastle have to do some fantastic defensive work there to keep Milan at arm's length and away from their goal. It remains Milan 0, Newcastle 0, as Nick Pope comes and claims the cross there in the end. And in around about a couple of minutes' time, we'll go to Bruno Winter to get his player of the match. And Giwa says, plus 12 minutes injury time, probably around about, I'd say probably 6, maybe 7 minutes for me personally, what I think is going to be the minute stoppage time in this game, in my personal opinion. If we just bring Bruno in now, and Bruno, how many minutes do you see being added on in the moment? We'll see a shot coming in here from Pulisic across goal. Basically out, can't get striking, comes again for Pulisic, and Newcastle just blocked away, and Isak's there. Milan knocking on the door again. Hernandez with the ball into the penalty area, cleared away by Miguel Almiron, and Kieran Trippier plays the ball into Elliot Anderson. Newcastle 0 had been held in Milan to a 0-0 draw. AC of the Milans, as here comes Elliot Anderson now for Newcastle. What can they get the ball through towards Isak? They can't. Ball runs through to the goalkeeper. If we were to ask how many minutes of stoppage time, Bruno, how many do you reckon is going to be added on at the end of this match?
Well, I mean, the new rules are that you add almost any second that's not been played, but this game has been pretty fast flowing. There's not been too many stoppages. Obviously, the substitutions, we've had a few stoppages in play for them, but I think overall a couple, 3 minutes is probably about as much as we need, really. I mean, there haven't been too many breaks in play of much recognition. So I think, 2, 3, 4 in that sort of area.
Yes, and Bruno, if you would like to do so we'll come to you for that in a moment. Next time the ball goes out of play, we'll get your player of the match. As Anderson wins the ball for Newcastle, and Newcastle can come away with possession. Miguel Almiron has got Longstaff outside of him. Longstaff just holds up the play. Longstaff puts the ball across, deflects into the arms of the substitute goalkeepers. Sporitello, and now Milan can break with Olivier Giroud. It'll be all breaking if Newcastle concede here now. Olivier Giroud goes for goal, but Nick Pope is right behind that shot, and it's comfortable in the end for Milan. For Giroud to take the shot up, but then Pope to save it well. We'll bring Bruno in a moment to get his player of the match. He's Alexander Isak. Can he come forward with possession? He can. He's Kieran Trippier. Trippier drops the ball into Dan Burn. Down the line towards Isak. He's out of play for a throw. But while the throw's yet to be taken, Bruno, who's your player of the match today? Sponsored by the brilliant commentary services in this game between AC Milan and Newcastle United.
Well, I think there have been a couple of standout players. I think, first of all, I've got to give credit to Nick Pope in goal for Newcastle. He's made quite a few good saves, 8 in all. But my man of the match is AC Milan's midfielder, Rade Krunic. He's been probably the driving force in the Milan midfield. Created 7 chances with a shot and a 90% passing accuracy. He's probably been the heartbeat of that AC Milan midfield, who have been pretty dominant so far today. So he is my player of the match.
Yes, and a good choice too for player of the matches. We get ready to see how many minutes of stoppage time we will have very shortly. Here comes Milan to just keep the ball well with Florenzi. What can they do here now? It's out wide. Florenzi's there towards the penalties. Christian Pulisic, a wonderful challenge from Bruno Guimaraes, and he stops it from going out for a corner. Pulisic, there's another ball on the pitch, so he can't take that throw in quickly. Florenzi will now take the throw in, and Milan may be forced to go backwards here from this, but there's going to be a substitution taking place right now, and it's going to be for Newcastle United, and it's the number 14 coming off, which is Alexander Isak. Played well today, Alexander Isak, for Newcastle United. Not really that much service. What he has had to do, he has worked well. Yet to, with no Newcastle players had a shot on target just yet. On comes Harvey Barnes for his Champions League Newcastle debut in the Champions League, having featured in the Champions League when he was at Leicester after Leicester won the league. As we into stoppage time now, waiting to see how many minutes will be added on. We're yet to get any confirmation of how many minutes will be added on to us, which we couldn't see the board go for at the time, as he's headed behind for a Milan corner. I wonder if we're going to have many minutes stoppage time. We're into stoppage time now. We've got 5 added minutes at the end of this match, as Christian Pulisic will take this corner kick for Milan. Pulisic will look to create the winning moment for Milan here as the ball is whipped in. It goes over there to everybody, but Harvey Barnes is there, but it comes out to Teo Hernandez. Good ball backwards from Teo Hernandez to keep the ball moving for Milan. Rangers can keep the ball moving. Rangers again. And you have a strike on goal. They can! And just over the bar in the end. But Milan going close again there, but can't take it. And that's a good chance again for Rangers. Just can't keep his effort down, Bruno, though.
Yeah, Milan we're into injury time now, and they're really going to push for the winner. Home game against Newcastle for all the teams in the group is probably the one game that you look at and saying, with the group of death, at home against Newcastle is the game that you really want to be getting 3 points. And Milan are no different to that. They're really going to push.
Yes, and Newcastle have just won a free kick here in a promising position for a push in the back, as we've played just 2 minutes of the 5 that's been added on, and it'd be very interesting to see if Newcastle were to get something from here. Kieran Trippier standing over this free kick to get the ball into the penalty area. The Newcastle fans that have travelled out in their numbers, bouncing away to our right hand side behind the goal there, as Longstaff takes it to Trippier, who kicks it into the penalty area. Trippier flips it into the box, but there's the other way, and Pulisic will just keep the ball in play for Milan, and Milan's on the counter. Wonderful break for Musa, a wonderful stop, and to keep the ball in play as well there is Kieran Trippier, the excellent defender on this left hand side. We know he can play on this left hand side, but that's the poor pass in the end. And Newcastle United again themselves in a bit of a tangle and a bit of a mess at the back there. And I agree with G-Waz, Newcastle will be happy with a point from this game. More goals going in the EFL Trophy to tell you about, and one in the Champions League. In the Champions League, Young Boys 1, Leipzig 3. Benjamin Sesko with the goal in stoppage time. The EFL Trophy is now Morecambe 0, Liverpool 2, Callum Scagnon. Wigan 0, Leicester 1. Arjan Raki is Leicester under 21s in the EFL Trophy. Exeter 0, Reading 2, Zach Joe's own goal. And Wigan have equalised against Leicester now on the penalty spot from Josh McGuinness. 1-1 against Leicester under 21s in the EFL Trophy. There, all the Papa John's Trophy. Give it the proper name as here comes Milan to try and get a late winner here. What can Milan do? Can Newcastle win it themselves? It's Elliot Anderson. And it's Harvey Barnes who just tries to get the ball for looking for the run of Callum Wilson. Wilson is there. Longstaff cuts it out, and now Newcastle can break here. Wonderful run. What can they do here now, Newcastle? Running forward in towards the penalty area is Miguel Almiron. Sets it up for Elliot Anderson, edge of the box. Into Longstaff. Longstaff goes for goal. Fantastic save from Spirito. Boratella right to the very end. Keeps Milan's point intact. Well, that's a wonderful effort from Longstaff on the edge of the box. And he was tipped over the bar. Fantastic effort. And Newcastle, Bruno, almost getting a late winner there.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken 95 minutes, but finally Newcastle get a really dangerous shot, and it's Sean Longstaff just on the edge of the box, narrowly over the crossbar. It's probably the game now. Excellent save by the backup goalkeeper. But yeah, it's really the best chance that Newcastle have had all game, and what drama it would have been had that gone into the back of the net.
Yes, and what limbs in the away end as well that would have been if that had gone in as well. Is Kieran Trippier he's got time to take this corner. Last chance saloon for Newcastle United to get a late winner in the Champions League opener for the first one in 21 years. Whipped into the penalty area, punched clear by Spiritello. Fingertips on it, and they're checking something here, VAR, I think. What's VAR checking here for? I'm not sure what VAR checking here for, because they're checking for something. If we're checking for a foul on the goalkeeper, nothing's come from that. So what they're checking for now is all over. The full-time whistle has gone. Newcastle get a point on their return to the Champions League. For the first time in 21 years, they've been back in the Champions League, and they get a point on their return. And it's a full-time of the San Siro. Milan 0, Newcastle 0. We'll bring Bruno in a moment to get his thoughts on the game. Just some Mogos to tell you his finish. Morecambe, his latest is Morecambe 0, Liverpool under 21s 3 now. Bobby Clark with the goal there on 39 minutes. It's full-time in the other match. In the early kickoff is Young Boys 1, Leipzig 3 with the goals there. Milan probably should have won this with the amount of chances they had. Newcastle had one chance in the entire match, and it came right to the very end from Sean Longstaff. But full time is Milan 0, Newcastle 0, and Bruno Winter, what's your overall thoughts on the game?
Yeah, pretty even game, but I think Milan probably will be disappointed that they didn't get the 3 points in the end. They had the better chances. Nick Pope with an inspired performance. Newcastle, they had their spells, but they just seemed as if they tired out a little bit towards the end. Although they had a big chance in the 95th minute with Sean Longstaff, just tipped over the bar. Eddie Howe will be pretty happy with that. Goes into the next game at St James's Park with a point on the board. And it's going to be tough now for AC Milan to get more points with PSG and Borussia Dortmund, the other sides in the group. That you'd think that they're the two best teams, and these two are battling out for that third place. And you always want to get 3 points against your tougher opponents at home.
Yes, absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Just thought I'd get your final thoughts there. We'll bring Bruno back in just a second or so. Just want to say a big thank you to those who have tuned in today. Brilliant commentary from Bruno alongside myself. Hopefully, you've all enjoyed it. And what a fantastic game we have witnessed here today. Full time AC Milan 0, Newcastle United 0. And Bruno, if I were to ask you for your overall thoughts and for I know you gave a Milan player your player of the match and the player match on here, but which Newcastle player stood out for you in that game? I know you mentioned Nick Pope. Was there any outfield players that stood out for you as well, Bruno?
Well, I think defensively you got to look at it. Keeping a clean sheet away from home in Europe's never easy, especially at such a big team like Milan. And it was really bodies on the line at times. Botman and Shah made some excellent blocks. Kieran Trippier was very assured on the ball. You could tell that he has Champions League experience. So I think the whole back line was pretty impressive for Newcastle. But if they want to be getting more points going forward, they're going to have to be better in the attacking areas. There just wasn't enough attacking prowess from them in the final third.
Yes, big thank you then, Bruno, for your brilliant, excellent co-commentary alongside me tonight. Big thank you to those who have joined us in the chat. G-Waz, Luke, Mike as well, and to everyone else who has just been listening along. If you've been a Newcastle fan and you've enjoyed this one, make sure you click the like, hit subscribe, and make sure you keep following for more action shortly. But for myself, Russ Vernon, and from Bruno Winter, and from the rest of the team here at the Comment Job, big thank you for listening. More of the team here. It's a good night for now, and we'll see you again real soon. More of the team here. It's a very good evening to you all.